Gotta be the good side, right?
Yeah, we have to be on the good side. So are you good with this?
Sure. I'll just stare at myself the whole time.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. That won't make it awkward at all.
Not at all.
No. I'm so happy you're here. Let's talk about your career because you started as an appraiser, but now you sell real estate also.
Yep, the real estate's definitely a side hustle.
Okay.
But just I got licensed in 2018
For real estate.
for real estate. Yeah, for appraisal started in 1992,
Oh my gosh.
and Schultz appraisal was started in 1996. So
How's it changed?
oh boy. So I started with a clipboard, and we would draw the houses, the sketches with a pencil on a clipboard, and then take picture. The first place I did appraisals, we did Polaroid pictures, and then you would take the Polaroid pictures onto the paper. But then once I went into the fee world, we did 1 hour photo, and then so I'd go take all the pictures, take all the comps, go to the 1 hour photo, go drop those off, go write it up, and then throw it in, print out 3 copies, and then go pick up the pictures, and then come back and glue stick them on, and you'd have to get a map and put these little stickers that say subject and comp 1 and comp 2, and then you put those all together, and you'd have to make usually 3 copies, and then drive them over to the mortgage broker and drop them off. It was kind of cool though, because you got a lot more personal interaction. But
How would that work if it was, did you ever do that for out of state lenders? How would they end up with?
well, so this is in the 90s, so that out of state lenders were the mortgage brokers were the primary source of business. It wasn't, United Wholesale from Denver or anything like that. It was Acme Mortgage, and they'd go to Countrywide or First Horizon. So we just drop them off, and then they would send fax and do all that fun stuff. So then once digital cameras came out, they were big, like about the size of a sandwich or a huge sandwich. Then that really was that saved a bunch of money. It was our film budget was
Right.
$300 or $400 a month.
Polaroids and instant.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
And then along came the digital software. Alamo got more advanced, so I actually bought a few lenders printers because I would email a report, and that was kind of at the cutting edge. Oh, what do we do with this? We can't. I don't know what to email. I have to have it, so I bought them a printer so they could print off copies of the report.
Look at you high end.
Well, it was like $80, and then if they're sending me 3 appraisals a month, then it paid for itself pretty quick.
Yeah.
And that was back when the mortgage brokers could just pick whoever they wanted to
Okay.
do the appraisal. So
So relationships matter.
very much, yeah.
And they don't anymore.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit, but it's definitely more of a digital world, and you're on a roster and you're in a rotation, and the loan people can't pick their buddy by any stretch of the imagination. So, but you need to get on those lists, not take some relationship.
Okay. So you just don't just like put your name in a hat. You actually have to apply or have a relationship.
Yeah,
in there.
yeah. We supply sample appraisals in your resume and apply and do all that fun stuff.
That sounds hard.
That's just bureaucracy.
Is it hard to break into the appraisal business?
Yep. Yeah. You kind of have to know someone, and we get plenty of inquiries every month. But some people say you're training a competition, and I don't really look at it that way. I just don't have the time, and I have had 5 people become licensed under my tutelage. But I'm done. I'm old and cranky and don't have any patience, so I've kind of stopped doing that.
You don't hold.
Well, thanks.
We got that far.
He just had lunch, so he's not going to be
Yeah.
thank you for too long.
Okay. Oh, what'd you have for lunch?
Jim Jones.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like better ham. The Pepe.
Yeah, the Billy nightclub. So sometimes I didn't get that today.
Okay.
Country club.
Do you like
Yeah.
Oh, country club?
Yeah.
Because you're all highfalutin with your tucked in shirt today.
The last 3 times I had that shirt that was tucked in. I was kind of going for a new thing, and I'm like, I'm gonna wear one that has to tuck in, so it's gonna draw attention. She'll have to mention it.
Awesome.
So
It worked out.
it worked out.
Works out good.
We're lucky I'm wearing a shirt.
Yeah. I was
I'm lucky on that. So when you were driving around, when you were going and you were drawing sketches and you were taking pictures and you were getting them developed, what was the geographic area that you were covering for that? Maybe what was the farthest that you had to go? Were you going out there and then dropping off the film and putting it all together? What was that?
Yeah,
What
well,
like?
great question. In those days, it was what I would take whatever I could get. So, you know, this is the late 90s. So fledgling, you know, first 2 or 3 or 4 years. And so I just didn't say no to anything. So Hawaii County, Payette, McCall, Boise County, you know, we would do whatever needed to be done. It just didn't know how to say no. It took probably 10 years to figure out how to say no. And so, um, it was just a lot of driving, you know. Toyota and was after good gas mileage and put a lot of miles on the car. Now it's uh, I limit it now. I Ada County, Boise, or not Boise, Cannon County, Gem, and Valley County. So that's what we do, and I can do an entire appraisal on this thing. I can measure the house. It does lidar, and you go to the corner, point, and measure it. And then you drag and drop the rooms in there, and I have all the comp photos. And I can dictate the comments and upload it. Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah. Well,
Do you think starting when you did, this is, I mean, obviously helpful for the convenience part of it, but do you think starting as an appraiser now versus when you did, having to learn it the way that you did, would be easier or harder because you're maybe not doing as much hands-on starting now?
Probably now would be easier because it's so much more efficient. You're going to be able to focus less on just the putting things together. That being said, I have no idea where the industry is going. I mean, AI is in every single aspect of our lives, especially real estate. But I mean, we're going to have AI underwriting. We're going to have AI loan takers. We're going to have AI appraisals.
I'm not actually here. I was just cropped in
It's not
after,
happening.
yeah.
after all
You're a
that
hologram.
video started, right? But it is true.
He's goofy.
I don't know much about the AI stuff, right? I don't dabble in it. I haven't researched it enough. But I'm assuming that it can and will eventually take over a lot of the easy cookie cutter parts of probably all of what we do.
For sure. Without question. It's not a good one.
And with self-driving cars, you know, you don't have to drive anybody around anymore to look at houses, right?
I don't drive around, they follow me usually.
That's
Or
probably
maybe,
better, but
yeah, safer. But do you, there's some things about appraisals that are not AI, like you understand that. Like I found with COVID, videoing a property for somebody and then having them come to the property, there was a very different sense of how they felt about the property based on like
Without-
your hairs on the back of your neck standing up or whatever.
Yep.
Those little things don't happen when you're watching a video.
There's certainly intangible elements. There's, you know, there's a vibe you get. There's a feeling that you get. Like there's some emotion, and sometimes I can see the most beautiful pictures on MLS and show up and go, oh, or I can see some real mediocre and have low expectations. Go, oh my gosh, this looks like a lot nicer than it did in the pictures.
Yeah.
And not just that, but there's things like floor plans. Like in the North End, it's not uncommon to find a bathroom that's set up right on the kitchen or right on the dining room. So if you have people over, you know, then people are going in there doing their business, and then you're entertaining. It's well, sit back down for dinner. You know, it's weird.
Yeah.
People now would never accept that, but it can still be listed as a 3-bed, 2-bath house, and then a computer's not going to pick up on things like that, or AI, not yet anyway. Probably someday.
It might someday, but I
Yeah.
do think there's a sense of that human touch that
Yeah.
you add to it, and the other things going on in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Because you count that, right?
Yep.
And whether the seller took care of the house, like that, you can see better in person than you can.
I think so. Mm-hmm. Yep. There's smells for
Oh.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I told a guy from Zillow, I'm like, if you could invent scratch and sniff on the internet, you'd be a billionaire.
For sure.
Can you imagine? Oh, yep. Stalker. Hats.
That'll happen.
it's on its way.
Italian cooking. Okay, let's go see that one.
You've been moved into.
Bakery.
What have been the struggles for you in the last year? Have there been any struggles at all? I know that with everything that came out with the was it NAR? Is that the,
Oh, the way that
Did
the
that
commission
change?
did change.
did that change anything for you that you had to adjust for in the last year? I know that it's kind of, at least from the transactional standpoint, for us, it's just kind of settled and it's not really too much of a conversation anymore, but it's been about a year. Did that change anything for you?
Yeah, I think it was like with the agents, it was a wait and see, and we're kind of going, oh gosh, where's this all going to go? And really, it didn't end up, in my opinion, having a huge net effect. It's just kind of more of a pain. I don't think it's, quite frankly, I don't think it's helped the consumer. I think it's probably hurt the consumer. If I'm a seller, I want to advertise that I can do a commission, and now I can't.
Right.
So uh, that's my opinion there. The biggest thing that's been a challenge are the concessions from the volume builders, the Corey Hubble, Lennar, Tolbert, and they're, doing 20, 30, 40, $50,000 in concessions and buying rates down to 4.75. So we're trying to figure out are those concessions selling the house or is the house selling the house? And it's usually a combination of the two, but that's been the biggest challenge for sure. Yeah.
I think that, the concessions are a huge thing for those builders
Mhm.
because you can get the interest rate way down and then a resale can't compete with that.
That's exactly right. So that tells me that it's the concession that's creating that price and not the house.
Right.
So that's where the challenge comes in. Then we come in 30, 40, $50,000 low on a report, and then there's issues.
I saw a builder the other day and they were throwing in the fridge, washer and dryer.
Sure. Yeah. Very good.
So,
Yeah.
where a resale can do that, but sometimes there's emotion involved.
Mhm.
My husband gave me my refrigerator. It was hard to part with it. It was quite a present. I waited for years for.
Your pictures are already loaded into the USB port on the fridge, right?
Yeah.
Maybe not.
No.
No.
I didn't have that fancy of a fridge.
Okay.
I was going from a 1996 white Kenmore fridge to a French door stainless.
Did the Kenmore break?
No, my husband told me I couldn't get a new fridge until that one broke,
That's
but it was built in the 90s, so
It did.
no. So finally, I'm like, it's my birthday.
No. Okay. Did you at least put that one in the garage? Did you get to keep it, or what'd you do?
The old one,
Yeah.
I think we gave it to someone.
Okay. Maybe they're still using it.
Maybe we do have an old fridge in the garage, but I don't. Two old fridges. We have way too many.
Do you remember the old
freezers.
ice boxes that were just, they had the feet and then it came off the ground and then it was just a big square with the one door that opened up and it had like the big fan thing on the top? You know what I'm talking about from the late early 1900s?
That just was ice.
Yeah, it was used for refrigeration, but I think it was just an ice box. So anyway, when I worked at Jim's Appliance, I don't know if you've ever been down there, it's a local store that's been around for 65 years. There was an old one that was in the back that was kind of a keepsake for the owner. And we were cleaning out the warehouse and I decided that I was going to put that on a cart and take it out to the dock because I thought we were getting rid of it. And I almost lost it.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so somebody found it's like, don't give that away.
That's
It's one of the ones, if you've ever seen a river runs through it, when the brothers are fighting over a sandwich in the kitchen, they knock over mom.
Yep.
That's the type of fridge that's in there. So if you ever watch that scene, they have that same fridge.
That's
We didn't
cool.
have an ice box that was, I'd say, 1.5 by 1.5 or so. Like say, I think it was lined with steel on the inside. You put the ice in the bottom, and then it just had a lid that opened up at the top, so you reach down. There was no fan, but I think it has to be along the same lines. It was an antique from Jersey
Or something, but yeah, it was about this tall. So
Yeah.
that's my story of almost getting fired from furniture appliance.
Tried to throw away old stuff.
Yeah, that probably still worked. I mean, he had two of them. One of them still worked.
It's amazing, appliances. But do those count, appliances? How do you do with personal stuff?
We have some boilerplate in there that says, no personal properties included in this report. We only appraise real properties. So again, if you have that's why we need to also know how these concessions are being attributed in the transaction, because sometimes it's a fence, which the $12,000 fence certainly is going to help the value. It
Right.
improves the property.
Yeah.
Window coverings don't tend to go away when people move, but you can take a fridge, you can take a washer dryer, so those things. Back landscaping is another big one. Then that's another can be $8 or $10 or $12 or $15,000. So that's different than if it's $20,000 going to buy down your rate, because that's not going to go next time it sells.
Right.
Did you ever see
Okay.
Did you ever see a movie with
Yeah.
Richard Pryor? Have you seen that movie?
Yes, where it's poison.
Yeah, exactly. So when they're moving here, the sellers are walking through the house and
I should have yeah.
That's not included.
and they start laughing, right?
Yeah.
And when they get there, everything's gone. So how would that? I mean, that's
Yeah.
devaluing a property at that point. So I wonder how that.
Well, this was blatant. They were just taking fixtures off the ceiling.
They said
They were taking stairwell, the banister.
The whole staircase and the swimming pool.
Well, they said they were going to. It was right here in the transcript that he had.
That would have had to be in the contract. That's why you should use a real estate agent and not buy it or sell by owner.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Maybe they did. I don't know, but it was a great movie.
Yeah.
First one of those Boise settings, and they only used about 5 seconds worth of Boise in that whole.
And it was when he was driving into town.
And they used people
from the depot.
Yeah.
They used people that lived here, and he never came here. It was his family that had here, living here, in a car that looked just like it.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, and J105 was on the radio as it was playing.
Oh, it's really not bad.
With all the old school knowledge.
It's fun.
It is fun. So personal property doesn't count. What about if I'm going to do a kitchen upgrade? And they've like, does that what upgrades should a seller do to help them upgrade?
You talking about new construction or?
No, just a reset. Like resale sellers are like, I spent $80,000 on this kitchen, and I'm like, yeah, Bill's going to give you about 20.
Yeah, well, and so that two things there. That it's not what I'm getting; it's what the market's getting,
Right.
and then we report it, and that is people think that an appraiser's some omniscient character, whatever that number is. That's the number. I really like to try to educate people. It is one person's opinion, and hopefully you can read through the report and look at the clues that have been presented, and come up with the same type of opinion, but. Yeah, there's all those NAR and the builders. They do those surveys, and certainly spending money in the kitchen is the very best place to spend money. And then I think it's always the master's the next best place, and then the primary.
Yep.
And then the bathrooms and landscaping is one of those that boy it can really sell a house, but it just takes one idiot to kill it all, or not, that
You don't water them and
Yeah,
don't have the yard anymore.
yeah.
Yeah, because that's one of those things people want to know what to improve and what not to improve. So it's good to talk to your agent.
Yeah, and everybody has different tastes too. So there's always that fine line of do I do it to my taste and nobody else likes it, or do I have a brand new kitchen and a 1980s living room? I think it's more art than science still for a little while, but as long as everything's. I've seen the highest prices, the quickest sales go when people really go all out and make everything congruous and it all lines up instead of having a 70s built house that was remodeled in the 90s and then has a 2000s kitchen and several different decades represented, or mixing styles. I've seen some real atrocities too.
I wouldn't mind Dave's living room again.
Sunken living room with some banisters.
Yeah, maybe some
Some long orange carpet. That's what we said it is. Where you have to have a rake.
Yeah, carpet rake, yeah.
So you don't say yes to everything anymore. Do you focus on one type of property as you go through reports, or are you just taking whatever works for you? You're doing land, you're doing house, you're doing what type of projects do you work on?
90% just residential, single family homes. We do some land here and there. It's just a smaller portion of the transaction, so it falls into the smaller portion of the appraisals. And there's some 2 to 4 unit stuff. Even those aren't selling that much, but the inventory is very low there. But we can do up to residential appraisal. We can go up to 4 units. So lending is about half of my workload, and then the other half we do a lot of attorney work with divorces and date of death type appraisals. So when grandma dies 10 years ago and now grandpa dies, we get to reset the cost basis so they want to pay value now, so that later on when the kids sell it, they don't have to pay capital gains.
That's what I always tell my students when I'm teaching. I'm like, if you know somebody that dies, like do a market analysis for them and send it to them. It may not totally help, but it'll at least give the houses the appraiser should be looking at.
Well, it's a great marketing thing too.
And it's a good. Sorry.
It's not like, hey, I know grandma died. I want to sell your house.
No, it's
So I want to help you with your cost basis and not pay taxes.
Right. Yeah.
By the way.
It is, yeah, I did get a listing at a funeral once, so
Oh my.
not intentionally. It wasn't like I love to sell real estate. I slipped my card in the casket, but I did just get a listing there.
Just put it in the guest book. You know, that's probably a better place to put your card than the casket.
Guest book from the casket. Yeah, this casket would, eventually disappear.
Sure.
Yeah, no, she chased me down in the parking lot. I've been meaning to call you.
Oh, good.
So, oh, no, maybe not the best time. Okay. It's fun.
A lot of connection.
Yeah. So, what things will kill an appraisal?
Kill an appraisal, kill a deal.
Well, like, I don't know. Like, what are some things you should not do to your house when you have it appraised? Or I don't know if I'm asking that right, but
Are there specific things that you're running into that maybe people need to improve before you go out to look at? So, like, if it's a common thing that you're seeing on a handful of transactions, like make sure there's a handrail on the steps on the back patio or whatever it is. Are there certain things that come up on multiple appraisals?
Yeah, I'd say by the time we see it, especially in purchase transactions, the agents are the skilled ones at taking care of those items. Like if you have 800 pictures of whatever your personal thing is,
right, yeah.
you want to kind of make it so that the buyers can visualize themselves in the house and not moving it,
Right.
That's another intangible emotional thing. But that's nothing that usually takes care of itself by the time that we see the houses. So the house has been on the market, they've been exposed, they've had people go through, they've been at this price, they've had offers here, or they've had multiple offers here. Those are the clues that we're looking for, and that's all driven by these items that you're asking about. So again, by the time it comes to us, it's just us to report the action and what has taken place.
And it's good to give you the more information than less. So if we had
For sure.
offers on a house, we should tell you.
Absolutely, yeah.
And if we had several offers and if they fell out along the way, and that's why it's been on the market for longer,
Yep.
then we should tell you that too.
Yeah, we have to tell the whole story, yeah.
So because it can help, sometimes time on the market ruins the value of the house.
For sure, yeah. It can, yeah. People go, it's been on the market a long time, so nobody else likes it. Why would I like it? So.
Do you see bias? We're seeing that nationally, where appraisers are have a little bias when they go in a house and they see that it's maybe belongs to a certain fair housing. We don't have that. Have you seen that here? Yeah.
I sure hope not.
Me too.
Yeah, no.
There was one in San Francisco where it was valued at like $500,000, and the agent was like, "This is wrong." So they went and restaged the house, and she put a white couple on the couch, and it appraised for $900,000. So that's what I'm asking. Like, does it it does make a difference?
Yeah. So
if it's messy or
one of those lawsuits. I saw there's a couple lawsuits.
Yeah.
One of them was actually an African American reviewer that cut the appraisal, and then it was the African American homeowner that sued, and then they found. So I think there's people maybe looking for that also. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. It absolutely does.
Right.
Unfortunately, I haven't heard of any instances here, and I hope I don't.
yeah, me too.
It should be numbers and facts, and being objective. So that is a tricky. It's a slippery slope though, because San Francisco it's Chinatown, and so that's what's happening there. And I have a very good friend who's in prison in San Jose, and there was an Asian neighborhood. I'm not being racist. It's just is what it is.
Right.
And there was a house that wouldn't sell because the stairway needs to face north or something.
Oh, yeah, for
And it comes in, if not, all your luck runs it, something like that. The house just flat wouldn't sell, and that's why. And we're at a spot now where it'd be really difficult to explain that in a report without violating some fair lending.
Yeah. Well, the MGM Hotel in Vegas, they had to redo their whole entry like 20
Yes,
years ago because
very similar. Yeah.
they were walking into the mouth of the lion, and that was bad luck for Asian gamblers. And so they had to change the whole entrance so that it was better luck.
And around here, I mean, if you go down Chinden and go north on Linder, there's a great big white building there.
Yeah.
Big steeple on it. And I've heard multiple instances, and I want no one for sure, where somebody bought a lot and went to subdivisions down below because they wanted to view that big white building. And that's a thing. That whole corridor, that's a thing there, and I can't put close to the LDS temple, you know. But
No, but it is a thing.
it's absolutely a thing.
People
Yeah,
want to live close to their baby church.
Yeah, and
Right.
not just them. This
Yeah.
is just an example at the top of my head. But
Yeah.
Things like that, does that change value for the property itself, or just the value in specific clients' eyes
certain clients will pay more for that.
because of that?
Yeah.
Okay. Or it's being close.
And again, that'll show up in comparables, hopefully. So the neighbor maybe also did the same thing.
Okay.
If it's like the one free super high one, and it's kind of an outlier. We try to avoid outliers, but
What about like on the back of a busy street versus in the middle of a subdivision? Same house, same features, same 80s living room, whatever it is.
Mhm.
Does that change value
absolutely.
on your report if it's closer?
It's hard to find it though. I've looked for it when I'm doing comps, like trying to figure out what the price difference is. And I have had other appraisers tell me it will shrink the buyer pool,
Mhm.
but it maybe doesn't necessarily
There's
like a flat number that it's decreased it by.
yeah, it's not a flat number, but so what we ran into from 21 to 23, when there was no homes on the market, people did not care. It's like, I don't care if it backs up to a busy road. I've made 7 offers. I got to have a house.
Right.
So they just would pay for it. They have much less of an impact now with a little more supply. Now it does have impact. And as far as shrinking the buyer pool, there's plenty of agents that'll, okay, there's these listings we can go all, that one backs right up to Locust Grove. So let's cross that one off the list. You got a cat and a kid, and you don't want to have
Right.
people running out. And so it's just going to limit the showings, period. But it's coming back now. And so when I do get properties like that, I'll pull up hopefully a bigger pool on the map, and then just kind of look. You can look at, we know the roads because we've been here a while, so I can see if it backs up to, or if it's on Franklin or on Curtis or on Overland or something like that, then I'm going to look for comps specifically that way. But then you also have to look at the maps because some of them are going to back up to these roads.
Yep. It's true when a client's call me and they're like, we found the deal. And I'm like, okay, and I'll pull it up. They're like,
And that's right up the interstate.
and then you can see the freeway,
Yeah.
the big wall that's the freeway.
Oh, yeah.
Backs up to the freeway. Are you comfortable with that?
Just put little things on there. You can use rock as a rock climbing wall.
Yeah.
I'm sure that would
I'm sure
actually
the TV would be totally
You
fine
didn't
with
know
that.
it's on the other side. And they don't watch this.
Uh,
What about like views and water and things like that? Is that taken into account with the values that are being promoted?
Absolutely. Anything a buyer is going to pay more for, that's what we're looking at. We're putting ourselves in the shoes of a buyer, or would I pay more for this because of that? Yep. And we try, the saying is we want to find comparables, not make adjustments. So I don't want to just go, if I'm going to go find a view property, I don't find another sale and make a huge view adjustment. I want to find other view properties
So you're trying to find the most similar house to the one that you're trying to,
without question.
without making any kind of adjustment.
Yep.
How far out can you go? Like if there's one that's near Table Rock, but there's no, I mean, now there's more houses up there, so maybe a bad example, but if there's not one for a few miles, are you able to use that for the comparables, or do they have to be closer in proximity?
Generally, anywhere a buyer would go is where I'm going to go for comparables. So if we're talking Table Rock and there's a 6,000 square foot house, but all of my sales are around under 3,000 square feet, I got to find one that's 6,000 with a view. I'll just say, let's see what's happening in the foothills. Find me a view property with 6,000 square feet. So we can go area 100, 200,
Okay.
maybe 300.
And that's all coded so you can search the database.
Right now, as it's phasing out, it's going to have to be maps.
Now you're
starting
map.
January 1st.
Hence, yeah, which is a whole other podcast on that.
Can you do a visual for it? You know, you get like the map and the pins and the yarn and everything that connects everything
Yes,
together.
exactly. You do that on electronically now.
Oh, you do?
You can on the MLS. That's pretty cool. It is pretty cool because I set a search up along the river, which would be kind of what you're talking about, right? Like we can just do like within a mile of the river on either side.
Does the floodway or floodplain affect the value of a property, or is that just taken into account that they need flood insurance? What would that do?
Yeah, again, that would be a dominant feature. First thing we do is identify the dominant feature of a property. It's the first start of the process. So if I'm on the river, I'll find something on the river. It might not have 3 perfect comps on the river, but I'm at 1, but if I have to go back further time, I'll have 2. So hopefully they'll have the same impact. And flood insurance is expensive, so it certainly would enter into I think it'd be $300, $400, $500, $600 a month.
Yeah.
So it's going to enter into a buyer's decision. So yeah, it'll affect that.
Sure.
So now, entering into a buyer's decision is flood insurance, but also homeowner's insurance because of roofs and all kinds of crazy things. So how is that playing into appraisals now, or is it?
I mean, if I'm using these comparables, they should hopefully have the same impact as whatever I'm doing the appraisal on. So it kind of works itself out. So if prices are coming down because I can't get insurance, I don't know if you've seen that yet, but I think that's what you're leading into.
Yeah. Or yeah, if we change, or the roof age, because roofs seem to be the big driver in that insurance ball.
Yeah, maybe it's going to be quicker to negotiate a new roof in an older house. So again, roofs are a little easier because you can figure out what the cost is.
And do you like if I have a house that's brand new roof versus one that's 25 years old, is the one with the
I'll
new
make a
roof?
condition adjustment, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, and it should be reflected in the price normally if the agents were, acting in their client's best interest and saying, hey, you're going to need a roof, so let's maybe offer a little lower.
Okay.
Vice versa, you just put a new roof on. Let's get a premium for that. Oversimplify.
What about basements?
Basements, I get that question a lot, and it's again out of north end is where we see the most of them. You see a little in West Boise. Try those split entries and just regular basements too. So if we use age as a criteria, it usually will work itself out pretty nicely. And I'm not going to have every house have the exact same size basement or the same amount of finish, but I'll usually find one that has a bigger basement, one that has a smaller, and then we can kind of figure out in the middle there. But there, again, we want to compare apples to apples and not just automatically make adjustments because one house has a basement, the other one has all its living area.
So if there's no comps with the basement, how do you comp the basement?
There's going to be one. So if we don't have one, we go dated, distant, dissimilar until we find one. So
Okay.
go back further in time, or further away, and then if it's a 1-story with a basement, I can't find one. I'm going to say let's look at 2 stories with the basement. If I'm looking at split entries and I can't find enough split entries, then I'm going to say let's start looking at tri-levels. That's kind of the next best thing, the next best comparison, and we'll do that. And again, if I can't find those, I'm going to go back further in time, further away.
Okay.
Mix it up a little bit until I find something. And the other thing we can do is go back, like Randolph Robertson say, and there's a ton of houses in there with basements, but if we found one that didn't have any recent comps, you could go back 5 years, you could go back 10 years and say, okay, well at this time there was plenty of comps, and the last time it sold was 2017 and it had 4 good comps. What was the basement contribution at that point? And you can take that percentage and bring it forward to today. So if the house with a basement sold for 20% more than one without a basement, then we come to make a 20% adjustment.
It sounds like math.
It is. It's math and a little art mixed, man.
Math and art and drawing pictures.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Just need cookies and a nap time and you've got kindergarten.
Yeah. Don't take a nap.
Do you have other questions?
This is just, I don't know much about it. Like I said, when we first walked in, I said, I send you money quite a bit, but we don't really see that part of it. There's very rarely will a lender include an appraisal report with their documents. Sometimes they do, which I don't want it. Because when the seller says, hey, did you get a copy of the appraisal? I'm like, if I did, but I can't share it. So we rarely see that.
Let's talk about that. Why can't we share? Because I get that question a lot. You probably get that question as an agent.
Yeah, the way to explain is very much like a doctor-patient relationship. If I'm a doctor, I can't be giving my patients out willy-nilly. So I said the first step in doing an appraisal is identifying the dominant feature. The very, very first step is identifying who your client is, who's engaging me. And so it's a lender typically if we're doing those. So Acme Mortgage, here you go. They're using that to make a lending decision now.
So it doesn't matter who pays for it, because that's the other piece that
I get that all the time. Well, I paid for it, and thankfully we've gone away from the seller always paying for the appraisal, which never ever made sense to me. So now buyers are doing it, but they would say I paid for it, so I get a copy. I go, actually, I don't. You didn't pay me. You paid a lender, or you paid at a closing, or anyway. the lender is obligated to give the borrower a copy, and then the borrower can share it. And there are intended users, so intended users in the transaction, people are going to be relying on that to make it close because they've made that lending decision. If it comes in low, then obviously we want to show, look, it came in low, so we can renegotiate.
Mhm.
But that's how that all shakes out.
You know, I'll have sellers that will sit there and say, hey, do you need a copy? But I want to know what to appraise that so we can figure out, do we come in close? We sell it. And you're like, well, if they end up with a copy of it, can they then back out of the deal and sell it for more on another transaction?
Now that's going. How do they
No,
close
it doesn't contribute to seller remorse.
Yeah, so then I just tell them, you could probably have a copy after we close, but that'll be up to you and, you know, the buyer or your agent and their agent to disclose that information. But there are times we'll get it. And when we print the loan package, it prints with the loan package. I'm like, I guess I could bind this somewhere and keep it off to the side. I wouldn't want anybody opening up the file when I'm gone and taking a look at it, but we were able to get a copy of it anyway.
And again, that's because you're doing it for the loan package, it's for the buyer, and they're obligated to get one from the lender. So that all makes sense.
And of course, there's the document in the loan package says you have the right to receive a copy of the appraisal report. And you say, did you get a copy of it? He's like, I think so. I'm like, well, been emailed to you. So
Yeah.
it's mostly final.
And it goes back to the perception that the appraiser is this omniscient soul that if the seller, we end up selling for 500,000 and then there's an appraisal for 510, which just makes everything go smoothly. They're going, oh, we left $10,000 on the table, and I feel bad that people have that in their thought process because they.
You know what enters them is when, and you did this, well, you didn't, you were the appraiser, but it was the market that did it. But I had a house that appraised for $500 less than the actual sales price. It was,
I did that.
and
What was the address?
it was on Teal.
Okay.
It was a while ago. It was like, 15 years ago, maybe.
Okay.
It was a long time.
We're gonna dig into this because
But it was interesting because
the appraisers shouldn't be that good, so there's something else. So
something else going on. Yeah, I don't know. It was $500, and I was like, I called the seller, and I was like, "You're gonna have to lower the price $500." They're like,
oh god,
"It's my racket." I'm like, "No, it's not. They're like scientific math geniuses."
Just less of a guessing.
But you
I'm
get
bragging
that.
myself.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you were the appraiser. So I was like, "What?"
So
It was so close.
my automatic comment is, like I said, no appraiser is good enough. Is good enough to be that good, that $500 better than the market. Now, the one time, and I'll never forget this, I did a Ted Mason little patio home, and this is 2010 or 2015, something like that. And I had three exact model matches: 110, 110.5, 110, and I think there was a pending sale at 110.5, and they were under contract for 111,500. Cool. I don't know what to do. I don't. There's literally no adjustments I can make. I can't make a little condition adjustment, or what ways the yard facing, and this one's facing south, the others are facing. I called. And I think that was back in the mortgage broker days. I called. I go, this is terrible. I don't know what to do. No wonder I were able to go, well, that adjustment makes sense. They're going, you're just doing it just to hit that number. And so that does stick out in my mind.
Yeah, no, it wasn't that one, but yeah, it was interesting. And not to put, I mean, I wasn't doing that to be, it was just interesting how close they can get sometimes. So then the seller's like, is it a racket, or they get that, I've heard, well, they get the contract ahead of time so they know the answer. And I'm like, but they don't always get the answer. When you're doing the comps, sometimes the answer isn't the cheat sheet. The guy that was cheating in front of you didn't know how to add.
And you're not always guessing. You're not guessing on what that is. You're running reports. You're figuring out what the value is. There's got to be some crossover between what you do and you do to come up with value.
Well, there's times when I'll tell the buyer, I'm like, this house is going to appraise it. And I'll give them a fairly specific number because we've made an offer, and it'll come in and they're like, how do you do that?
That's all that kindergarten math you're doing, right?
Well, it's because you had enough comps that were similar that it's easy to see what an appraiser would do. But I don't do, agents shouldn't. We don't know how to do condition adjustments or style of the house adjustments or if a bathroom's new and has certain fixtures, like you have a book that has that stuff in it. So
Or if you can cook from the bathroom, like in the north.
yeah, cook.
Yeah.
Or it has a, I saw one today and it was all Dallas Cowboys
Oh, boy.
and there was like a TV in the bathroom. It was very
You can see what the toilet was the Dallas Cowboys, or the toilet was the Dallas Cowboys, or nothing else
well. There was a TV with a football game on. So
in the bathroom.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't spend enough time in the bathroom to put a TV.
Do you work at all with like the county assessor? How was that taken? And do you know why? I mean, because we talk about this, that the values of the home are typically higher than the values that the assessors come up with. I'm just,
They're different. They're not always higher. Sometimes they're higher or lower.
yeah, but a lot of times values with the assessor are chasing and trying to.
That's the whole thing. There's a huge lag. So right now, the assessed value on our homes is from December 31st of 24. So they're using all those comps. And then, but now you're starting to pay taxes in June, so.
But this assessment goes in June, so maybe even with January 24.
But it's your market value as of December 31st.
Oh, yeah.
It's the assessed value.
Yeah.
So all that data is from 24. Well, here we are in June. There's like a year lag. That's why we're always behind it. So when things were shooting up, they were low. Now that we've kind of leveled off, we're a little bit ahead.
And they usually will do the assessments once a year, right?
Yeah, you get your assessment.
And then they don't do them on every house every year,
Correct.
right? It's every 3 years they have to do one on your house or something.
Yeah, maybe 4, something like that. But
Yeah.
they have benchmark properties and they go, I'm going to do this group this year and this group the next year and this group the next year and then they apply that to their whole little district. So each appraiser has their own little district. It's mass appraisal and they rarely get to go inside the houses, but.
Do you go inside?
Oh yeah.
Always?
Not always, no. Just this week I had a husband and a wife who had houses across the street from each other. They're divorced. The wife was adamant, and they're doing some divorce settlement. The wife was adamant she did not want anybody in her house, but it is just like 23, so I did MLS photos. So, I can give the attorneys a really good idea. Make an extraordinary assumption and say, if this is what it looks like on the inside, then this is what it's worth. So we do that all the time. Not all the time, but it's not unheard of. There was a time in the early 2000s where we did the vast majority just drive-by appraisals. That was one of the first little refi booms, or during .com
Uh-huh.
and all that. So we were doing just a ton of drive-by appraisals. Didn't even get out of the car.
That's weird.
Yeah.
And you don't do that anymore. There's desktop appraisals.
Yeah, it's even worse. Yeah, you don't need to leave your desk. Yeah.
I had to do a refi on my house and they were like, we can use a desktop appraisal. And the comps from the desktop appraisal were like 3 years old. And I'm like, you won't let my appraiser do that, but you're going to do that? I'm like, no, I'll pay the $500 or whatever it was for the appraiser. So we had the appraiser come out.
When I did customer service back in the day, you pull up the property tax sheet. So there'd be the characteristics and the taxes, and usually the picture from the assessor's office on that page.
Yeah.
And one of the ones that I remember was they went by, they took a picture. What the picture on the sheet that's with the county records was a house that had just been recently teepeed. So there was just toilet paper.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah. I'm like, look at this. This is great. And like, could you kind of come back or maybe use an old photo or something for that? That it was pretty funny to see that. But some of those photos are pretty good because they're just doing the drive-by, right? They're just driving by. I don't know if they stop and they do this or what, but it's just pretty funny to look at some of those photos.
Yeah. So what's the difference to you? Because you do selling now too. So does it help you do your job?
Totally. Yeah.
Do you,
It
are you?
really helps with the psychological part. And like, I have some buyers under contract right now. My 1 or 2 deals a year that I do. But it was fun because we looked at 12 or 14 houses and made an offer on one and didn't get it. Made an offer on another one, didn't get it. The first one we were $50,000 under the asking price on our offer, and that didn't come together. The next one we went 30,000 over because it's like, this is the one, this is priced right. And then that had multiple offers and we were in third place. And like, I haven't seen this for 4 years.
Yeah.
So then a month had gone by, we circled back to the original one and it sat there another month. And so we made that one happen. So in the psychology of what they were looking for and what they're after, fantastic buyers, but it really helps you get inside the head a little more.
So it helps you do your appraisal job better.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then pricing homes if I get a listing is it's fun to get the feedback. I always see after the fact, but while it's happening, it's like I didn't like this, I did like this. This is where they're at, and it's there's a ton of intangible little items that we all take for granted. I think on both sides, and so it's fun to see it all melt together.
Do you, when someone calls you on your listing and they tell you you're overpriced, do you know who I
See what happened.
do you know who I am?
Yeah, no, it's fortunately they've all been real smooth. So
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would help, I think, do your appraisals because people comment on the strangest things.
mm-hmm.
Like they're like, "What? Why are we talking about that? Like
Yeah.
the tree over there needs to be watered." I'm like, well, that has nothing to do with this house.
That's a great. That reminds me is one thing I just have never paid a bunch of attention to is trees. If there's a huge dead tree, I get it, but I've had more people ask me what kind of tree is that. I have no idea.
Now
I'm gonna say it's happened a dozen times in the last 3 years. That's
Either oak, maple, or pine. It's
Your wife will tell you now. I found out how to do it. It's a trick.
I think I've seen what you're talking about. Yeah.
And I did it with my shoes one day. I like pointed the thingy at my shoes and it found the shoe I was wearing and then all the shoes that I could buy.
Shoes you just talked about earlier that's falling apart. You
Yes.
take a picture of it to get the shoe.
I might be able to, but it told me the brand and like it was really cool.
Huh.
iPhone's amazing.
We have a magnolia tree in our backyard.
Don't tell my kids I said that because I complain about my iPhone all the time.
I think there's like
Does it bloom with flowers?
Yeah.
I like those. They stink.
They bloom and then they fall off. It's like within a day, and then they're all on the ground. And we lose the leaves out of that tree in the spring and not in the wintertime.
Oh, that's annoying.
And it's already just mown off, but
So what's the busiest time of year for appraisals?
There were a number of years that, like, I don't keep track as much as I should, but between 20 and 2010, the busiest month was January. Excuse me, December. And I'm not sure why. I don't know if it's a tax thing, but it was still buying and selling and refining. Maybe it's just idle time. I never could put a finger on why that was.
By
It
December.
happened 6 years in a row, but
Yeah.
December was the busiest.
I know some people are like, it's slow in the fall. Like I've had some of my best months in December.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's like people decide after Thanksgiving they want to buy a house.
yeah, it's just not big enough to host. Or it was big enough to host and they had too many people over and they want to downsize, so they don't want to invite.
Or they went somewhere fun and they want to go live that place. Like they use Thanksgiving as a.
I think it's statistically though, June, there's more sales in June and July.
Yeah.
So I don't know why.
I always say football Super Bowl season is Super Bowl Sunday is the kickoff to home buying season.
Yeah.
But it's weird when you get. And refis are down now probably.
Yeah, hardly any. Has to be a pretty compelling reason. It's a divorce or.
We call it the 3 Ds: death, divorce, or death.
Yeah.
So what about VA and FHA? What do you look for in those homes?
They go pretty much hand in hand. I don't do VA, but I've taken classes on what the similarities, differences are. They're almost hand in hand. But the 3 S's are safety, soundness, security, and there's sort of little guidelines that you have to have. The right height of handrail and smoke detectors, and we turn on water, and we make sure the dishwasher turns on, and we turn on the oven, and it's. I don't like it. It's scope creep. I think that's an inspector's job, and they get a big piece of paper that says the appraisal is not a home inspection yet. In our report, we're supposed to do all this stuff and test a couple outlets.
They call.
Put your head in the crawl. And,
I've had people call them like an FHA inspector instead of an appraiser, and so then the home buyer thinks that that's the inspector. I'm like, no, that's just the appraiser person. Like,
yeah.
We still need a home inspection.
Yep.
Because they're going to look for weird things like.
Yeah, I empathize with so many buyers and sellers that we're just engrossed in this every day. We know every term and the process and who an inspector is and who an appraiser is. And if you're working if you're a chef somewhere and then you go water. There's no reason that you would ever absorb these things. So I constantly remind myself when consumers are asking questions and they get upset, or it's we got to have that empathy because
Right.
it's there's some confusing things.
And it's good to use a professional because we know what we're
Absolutely.
doing most of the time.
Can't just be looking stuff up on Zillow.
All of us know what we're doing.
She looked at me when she
What?
said that. Did you grow up around here, or did you grow
Yeah,
up?
Eagle. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then Meridian High School.
Yep.
Okay. Remember when Meridian High School was like the whole valley, and then there were two other schools that are in there.
Were you in the Meridian switch to Centennial era?
I was the last graduating class before Centennial opened,
Okay.
87.
I
Yeah.
figured you were in that ballpark.
So
Exactly.
Beacon Light and Highway 55 is where I lived and went to Meridian High School.
Oh, wow.
I think it's 13 miles.
Yeah, not a lot of traffic back then.
Uphill both ways.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, uphill both ways. At U of I, there was uphill both ways because the sororities and fraternities were at the bottom of it. Oh, you had to walk up the hill and down to the school. So you technically went up and down the hill, but we don't ever tell our kids that. Uphill both ways.
It snowed up there too, didn't it?
It did in a wind. There's a little tunnel. It wasn't actually a tunnel. It was just like a row of buildings, but it was like a wind tunnel.
And it
It's
was
very cold.
in your face both directions when you walk to and from class.
I don't think so.
It helped with the story.
Oh, it probably was, yes.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I went to look at U of I for a college visit, and it was dark, and we didn't really take an official visit, so I just didn't want to go there.
it is cold and dark there.
Yeah.
I will say.
That was around Thanksgiving time, so
Oh, yeah, that's not a good time to go visit
so we did.
unless you just go at noon
Oh,
because it's light then. The sun is likely to be out. You're only allowed to visit at noon. So what frustrates you about real estate agents?
I actually get that question when we do these presentations too, and I never have come up with a good answer. Dollars per square foot drives me up the wall. And there's still agents. If sellers or buyers say that the agent said it should sell at this many dollars per square foot, I go, well, then that means you need to get another agent because it's a result. It's not a tool that we use to obtain a result. Dollars per square foot's the sales price divided by the size of the house, and that's it. And it doesn't take into account a view. It doesn't take into account a school district, a 3-car garage or a 0-car garage. How many bathrooms do I have? Do I have a bathroom off the kitchen? Is it 1.5 baths? So I don't really have a primary. Is it all these little floor plan functionality things?
Or did the owner take care of the house?
Yeah, condition, quality.
Yeah.
The example I give people is Volkswagen Beetle, made in Germany, kind of has 2 little seats in the back. The engine's in the back of the car. Porsche 911, made in Germany, kind of has 2 little seats in the back, engine's in the back of the car. One of them sold for $6,000, $200,000 a pound. The other one sold for $50,000 a pound. Do you care what the price per pound was?
No.
You don't, because one is one thing and one's the other. And and people say, well, the buyers do focus on dollars per square foot. And I said, well, they don't, because if they did, then we can head on out to Cuner and Caldwell and find a Hubble home and sell them one of those. It's going to be some of the best dollars per square foot that you can get. Well, they don't want to live in Cuner, Caldwell. They got to live, okay. And they don't want to have a high volume builder house. They want to, okay, well, now we're talking. And so you got some location that you're
Right.
focusing on, and you need a minimum number of bedrooms. And do you care if it's 2,100 square feet or 2,300 square feet? Do you really? Or is the one floor plan better than the other? So it is easy, and it goes back to what I was saying with the consumer, not being involved and not knowing a little terminology. They could just plug in those numbers and go, well, this one's $400 square foot, the other one's $375 square foot, and I should sell for $390 square foot, and just do that, make it easy. But it's just not a thing.
I always tell people, like, the only time an appraiser would maybe do that is if it was a volume builder neighborhood and they knew that every house was built in the same year, the same floor plan, and the same materials, because that is how,
Yeah.
then it would maybe make sense. But otherwise,
And I have a great example. with Janice Mooney, sometimes I'll go in and do an hour in her classes and for the CE stuff. And I had a perfect example in the townhouses that were built by Blackstead on Arnie Lane and State Street. Um, they're gorgeous. They're kind of mirror images of each other and they're connected by garages. So I mean, very compatible projects. Some back up to the green belt, some don't, but it's just stamp, 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 same thing. And I had 2 bedroom, 3 2 bedroom comps, and they were. This is again a long time ago when prices were different, but it was like 180, 185, 190, 187, and then randomly there was one that sold for 160. So I I called and it was pending. So I called the agent and go, hey, this one's kind of sticking out. These other ones are selling here, but this one's selling down here. Um, can you how do we price that? And she goes, well, we just took the average of the dollars per square foot of those other 3 comps and did it. And well, all of a sudden, some buyer got a great deal and some seller left $25,000 on the table.
Oh, wow.
And that's when you don't do it flat out.
Yeah. It's kind of like a napkin test, but not
Yeah.
really. Like if you're looking at comps, you can kind of like go, if we were pricing this house, would it be in the right ballpark? But
But basements,
but-
2 story,
yeah.
is single level versus 2 story, and if a 3,000 square foot single level home or 15 up and 15 down, and the dollars per square foot's only calculated on the above grade, and so you're leaving that all off. And I just had this with another divorce case last week where he said, well, this house sold for 500 and this one sold for $600 a foot. This is up in the foothills. I go, well, it didn't. That figure doesn't include the basement. And then so if you do that, it's really, $380 a square foot, but that's not do it. I took him through this whole process. Go, actually, yours is the highest dollars per square foot now that we're looking at it that way, but he was convinced I was, way off with value low.
yeah, they always think their house is made out of gold and the neighbors is made out of like tissue paper.
Yep. That's part of that psychology, it's a thing. Everyone's house is better than the other
I
guy.
had someone the other day go, they think that all their stuff is better than everyone else's. And I'm like, that's human nature.
Yeah.
We all think that our stuff is better than everyone else's because
Yeah.
it's ours.
Yeah.
Even these shoes with the sole missing. They're better. Just kidding.
Like, oh, I mean, when they just
No,
want to be dress shoes.
I know. My husband
Tucked
told me I
in.
can't spend any money, but I'm gonna have to buy new shoes.
It's okay if over the course of 10 years, that's like price per day, right? On a shoe.
Oh, yeah,
So
but
you
he
can
needs
just
that.
you just have to keep it for another.
Sure, he wouldn't go
Dollar
with that.
cost averaging.
It's
Yeah,
like the
many times did I wear them?
Yeah.
Yeah,
check out the fridge in a river mess through. You have to look it up.
I will look it up.
Yeah.
And also,
Maybe I can put a little picture of the fridge on here.
just really quickly talk about adjustments, because you mentioned adjustments. So when you find like properties that are all very similar, and if you can't, then you make adjustments. So what does that mean to the person that doesn't do appraising? What is an adjustment?
The simplest example I can think of is, and this is from the old days again, but let's say we have one house that had a swimming pool and it sold for $110,000.
Okay.
The house next door didn't have a pool, and it's the identical house, same floor plan, same builder, but it didn't have a pool, and it sold for $100,000. Well, we can figure out that pool contributed $10,000. So I would make it $10,000 if I have the house that doesn't have a pool and my comp has a pool, then I would adjust it down $10,000 to bring it to a similar condition or similar characteristic as the subject property. We adjust comparables, we don't adjust the subject. So the question I get is, how much do you give for a deck? How much do you give for new windows? I don't give anything. The market pays a price. We make adjustments for differences in characteristics. So square footage, if I'm looking at 4-bed, 2.5 baths, and 2 stories, and some are 2,800 square feet, some are 2,500 square feet, then we can get a pool of homes and figure out that the difference that 300 square feet contributes X amount of dollars, and it's not dollars per square foot. If the houses are selling for $250 a square foot, it's usually something like $80 a square foot for that difference.
Okay.
So we can do that for condition. We do it for garages,
Bathrooms.
bedrooms. Try not to do bedroom adjustments. I want to have
Do you
like
do
for like,
roof?
You did something there?
that would fall into conditions.
Is there anything quirky you want to add?
Quirky?
No?
No, I'll think of something as I'm driving on.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, it's fun. And you're very involved in the community. So you're on the IMLS board. What else do you do?
That's it.
Oh.
I feel very involved. I've gone to some city council meetings in Eagle.
Okay.
Yeah.
You still with the Eagle?
Yep. Yeah, kind of northwest Boise and Eagle is where I've always been.
Yeah.
Just like the quick access to McCall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nice. But it's hard to get anywhere else. We live in Eagle too.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
You're good. I gotta go. You good?
Yeah, we're good. Thanks. See you later. Most important title guy.
I don't know about that.